be having another fantastic guest here today. I'm going to intro him real quick. He and I have become immediate friends. You ever meet somebody and it's like, as soon as you meet him, like, you just like, this is going to not only be a friendship, but this is going to be a long lasting friendship. This is Tommy Breedlove. He's a Wall Street Journal and USA Today bestselling author of the book Legendary, which we'll be talking a little bit about today, and a business relationship and mindset coach who is a regular featured keynote speaker at global events. We're gonna get into his story. I'm not gonna talk about it immediately right now, but just to let you know, we're talking about in corporate America, in that place at the highest level. I mean, succeeding, um, really crushing it, performing at a high level professionally, and then started realizing, dude, there's a calling. There's something else that I'm supposed to be doing. He had the courage to answer his calling. That's a nugget for you right there. It takes courage to answer the call. But he answered that call, and now he serves clients and audiences everywhere by empowering them to build and live legendary lives. He guides people to discover a life of significance while building a lasting legacy. He's got a beautiful wife, and when he's not serving his clients, he's spending time with her, traveling the world, hiking, spending quality time with his two dogs and his family. Let me just tell you, it's an absolute honor to have you on, Tommy. What's going on, my brother?
Dr. Brad, I am grateful and humbled to be here, man. And here's to high achieving, man. Great, man. Epic, man. Oh, I can't wait to throw down today. It's going to be awesome.
Well, man, let's just jump right into it. You've got a very unique story, but one that I think a lot of men will be able to relate to. I certainly relate to because, as a physician, physician and business owner, I found myself at one point going so hard, being so successful in one area of my life professionally, but everything else, it came at too great of a cost of my family, my personal life, and was probably the least fulfilled I ever was, although I was the most successful. I think a lot of guys that sometimes we neglect these people, these high achieving men. People think we got it all figured out, and we're kind of secretly stuck. If you don't mind, man, share with us your story of how you got to where you are now.
I'll start there. I'll start at the stuck.
Mm,
Come from humble, blue collar, hardworking beginnings in South Atlanta. Um, so I was the first person to graduate college from my family. I
mhm,
think I'm still the only person to graduate college in my family. And thought that if I achieved money, power, success, the American dream, happiness, that, if I had the power, the money, the fancy car, the beautiful girl on my side, that, I would be happy and fulfilled in life. And so there I was at 37. I had the cufflinks, the corner office that literally looked down on Atlanta. I was a junior partner in one of those larger financial consulting mergers and acquisitions firm, and had reached a significant level of success at a young age. And when that didn't fulfill me, I kept looking at the sky like, why do I feel alone? Why
mm,
am I unhappy? Why do I still have all these insecurities, fears, and worries when on the outside I look like some sort of Wall Street god? But on the inside, I felt like a, a little boy that just needed to be seen, heard, and loved, right? And that's a whole part of my story growing up. I came from a lot of violence and abuse. When the money and power didn't start fulfilling me, I turned to everything else dark, all the things that ambitious men do. Starts mildly with missing an event with your wife, and then you're at the strip club, and then it's just a slippery slope that gets down into real big darkness, real big quick. Because I
yeah,
wanted
man.
to feel powerful, I wanted to feel successful, because I was powerful in my firm, but that wasn't doing it for me, right?
Mhm.
So now I got to go feel powerful, and so I was wearing all these masks: tough guy, important guy, couldn't ask for help guy, funniest guy at the bar. All these masks that we wear, they're nonsense. Because, like Eminem says, the real Tommy Breedlove was scared to show up. Would he please stand up?
Mhm.
And so, brother, at 37 years old, man, it almost cost me everything. It almost cost me my life, my firm, my wife for sure, and found myself literally laying in a ditch somewhere in downtown Atlanta, looking up the blue sky at 37 years old, probably doing some sort of multi-million-dollar audit or financial deal 3 days before. And that's when I said, I don't know what this is, but I'm not going to let it cost me everything. So I literally went on a 3-year journey of coaching, mentoring, emotional intelligence, mental intelligence, spiritual intelligence, physical intelligence, because I wanted to figure out who I was, who I wanted to be, what life I wanted to live. And so, real quickly, in those 3 years, I didn't leave the firm. I just went on a personal journey, crusade, transformation, rock bottom, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter. It's all the same stuff. But literally in those 3 years, man, I went from junior partner to senior partner to international practice leader to elected to the board of directors at 39 and owner of the firm. Most of the people were in their 60s.
Mm.
My money tripled. My relationship with my wife cemented and became the best it's ever been. The negative forces left my life. The positive friends came into my life, and my network 10x'd. All by being, and by the way, before pre shutdown, I was working 70, 80, 90 hours a week. No joke. No joke. Just drive, right? When I get there and when I have more, right? When I get there, and there was never going to be when or more because there was no number that was going to fill me up inside.
Mm.
But I went from working, I'm not even remotely joking, 70, 80, 90 hours a week, 35. But our numbers, our success, I went from one of the most hated people in the firm to one of the most beloved, all by investing in myself every single day, my heart, my mind, my soul, my body. And it's been the most that was 10 years ago. And
Mm.
I've completely switched careers. You said courage. I walked away at the top of the game because when I did this, so many other ambitious men started reaching out to me, corporate executives, bankers, lawyers, accountants, entrepreneurs. It's like, look, man, I don't know what you did, but you seem happier, more at peace. You love your wife. She loves you. And damn, you didn't give up your ambition or money. How'd you do that? What pill are you taking, by the way? Because I want some of that. And so literally I decided at 39, 40 years old to sell my equity, walk away. I was literally at the top of the game of that world. And big numbers were sure to come to follow this calling to run masterminds, coach, write these books, do public speaking, where you're evolving into from your medical practice and touching so many other people's, both medically, spiritually, emotionally, physically. And I'm telling you, from fulfillment to financial success to love of my life to what I do, to really believing I'm making significant impact in this world and serving my fellow human being. It's been the most enjoyable ride. So thank you for letting me share that, man.
Dude, I'm getting goosebumps listening to you tell your story. I feel like we don't value happiness and fulfillment. Listen, when you've got corporate executives asking you like, not how do you make more money, but dude, you seem happy. That's a clue that a lot of us out here probably aren't as happy as we want. I was looking at something recently, was talking about, and I was just curious. It was like I think I Googled the top 10 things that people want most in life. And on top of that list was like happiness and fulfillment. And it's
I
what
would
we
put
want.
freedom up there too.
Yeah,
Happiness,
freedom.
fulfillment, freedom.
Freedom was on the list, but it's these things that we oftentimes just completely like neglect. Um, why do you think we keep going after more and we neglect that part that we're really yearning for and that we really want?
I'll speak on behalf of not all men, but most men.
Yeah.
We men, whether it's in the locker room, on the field, in business, in war, we crave respect. And let me first preface this. I'm all for making as much money, driving the car you want to make, living in the house, the boat, whatever you want to do, as long as you're making impact in this world a better place.
Mhm.
More money you make, the more impact you can make. So I'm not one of those I'm like exact opposite. I'm a money guy, for God's sake.
For
That's what I
sure.
did for 20 years. However, respect is done in what? The girl we have on our arm, the title we have, the amount of money we have. It's societal, and it's not a bad thing because I love the desire for more is the birthplace of creation and innovation and social change. I mean, that's what ambition does, right?
Yeah.
But at the cost of your heart, your soul, your relationships, your friendships, your time, and looking back with regrets, that's when it gets too skewed. But
Mm.
we men, we crave respect. And we think we're always comparing, whether we like it or not, we're always in the arena, man. So if I've got, the Mercedes and you've got a Ferrari, I'm not enough. Well, if you make 1 million, 2 million, 4 million, 5, 10 million a year, and I'm only making 100,000, I got to get there because if I get if I get to where Dr. Brad is, I'll be happy. The
Right.
truth is, you're still wherever you go, there you are. And if you haven't built a strong fortress, so what we do, I feel like we as human beings, we don't spend enough time grounding ourselves in our core values, our fortress, and building a strong foundation. I feel like we're always trying to hang up the pretty painting, the roof, the fancy sink, but we're not building a strong house.
Right.
And here's the thing, and I'll get off my bandwagon. Our money, our title, our friendships, our respect, our business, even our God, and this is the worst one, our families, it can all be taken away from us in seconds. Bad
Mm.
mistake, life events, circumstances, economic situation. You take away from, I mean, in the blink of an eye, I've seen it. I've had it done to me. Mine was self-imposed.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is if it all gets taken away, how solid is your foundation? Are you going to be able to shoulders back, head up, stand up, dust yourself off, and move forward? Or are you going to collapse? Because it is a thin sheet of ice from the top of the game to the bottom
Mm.
of the pit.
Ooh, we man.
And for us, I think where we fail is building that solid foundation, living with purpose, living with boundaries. Stop putting so much credence in what other people think because they're not thinking about us anyway. But these are all tools, and by the way, these are practices, and this is unwiring. This is not a light switch. There's no magic pill. To this day, I'm 10 years into this journey, and I do this for a living. I work with coaches. I meditate. I pray. I write gratitude journals. I'm in a mastermind. I have this army around me to help keep me in line because it's easy for me to go, I need to make this amount of millions this year. I've got a Wall Street Journal bestseller. Well, I'm not a New York Times bestseller now. I got to go get that and sacrifice my family, my friends, my time, my love life, and that's not worth it at all, man.
It's an intention. It's a constant thing. It's not like, oh, I made it. I got the perfect balance. Like it's an intention to stay there. I gotta know, man. What did you do? I mean, I think everybody who's listening to this after hearing your story and the and the turnaround that happened from 37 to 39, you said, and it took an investment in yourself. Um, Walk us through what you did, and this probably is even what you teach other people to help get to this place of fulfillment, but still being able to be, successful.
A lot of what I did, I still do today, and we can go through what my daily routine and
Let's do it.
weekly, some of
Yeah.
the things I do weekly. But let me tell you the first thing I did, and this is a funny story. This is a little bit authentic and vulnerable. Is clearly my wife and I were going through a bunch of marriage counseling at the time
Yeah.
because even as successful or as many houses as we had, everybody thought we were perfect, but we were really one split second from tearing each other apart and leaving each other.
Yeah.
And every single one of those marriage counselors, and I'm not kidding, would like after the third session, like, Heather's my wife. Heather, you stay home, and Tommy, you come back alone next time. And at
Ooh.
first, I'm gonna be like, they're clearly gonna tell me that woman's a problem, and I've got it going on. But then I realized they saw something deep, dark, and because of how we all carry these wounds and stories and mistakes and tragedy and things that have happened to us. And I carried some bigger than others, and not as big as some, but growing up in and around violence and abuse. It became violence abuse. I was incarcerated at a very young age, thought my life was over. And I was still trying to prove that, and I was closed down. So one of
Mm.
those counselors saw how closed I was emotionally, couldn't feel, couldn't think. It was just about conquering and competing, conquering and competing.
Mm.
It's cool that this woman loves me, but I still got to conquer and compete because I'm trying to fill this hole because I didn't feel good enough. And I didn't even know I didn't feel good enough, right? And so I remember that one of those counselors saying, look, man, there's this place in Tennessee that can do more for you in 7 days than I can do in 10 years. And I went to
Mm.
this place called On-Site Workshops in Tennessee. And I will plug them to the end of time. They pay me nothing to plug them. And in 7 days, from making me feel like I wasn't alone, there was rock stars there, CEOs, regular Joes like me, and then people literally who had lost it all. And you saw that it didn't matter where they were in life, as being the biggest rock star CEO or somebody who's literally on the bottom, and me somewhere in between, that I wasn't alone. That's the first thing I saw. In my thoughts, my insecurities, my fears, the voice inside my head that was just always talking. I didn't feel alone. And then they spent 3 days in group, private, and other settings, kind of breaking us down, and then 3 days putting us back together. And
Hmm.
it's a beautiful thing they did. And I could feel, I could think, I found who I was, I got clear. To me, it was the first time I'd actually truly felt and seen God. For those
Hmm.
of you know what that is, you know what that is.
Yeah.
Once that happened, you can't unknow that.
Can't do that. Can't undo
You
that. You're
can't
right.
unknow that.
No.
And so after that, and this is where it gets tactical, everything they told me to do, I did. So get a coach, get a psychologist. And to this day, I think all of us great high achievers, I don't care if it's in athletics, medical, coaching, entrepreneurship, we need to have a coach around us to give us
Yes.
our blind spots, to keep us in our lanes, and to help us keep growing.
Yes.
So every single day of my life from then to the day. So I added coaches, masterminds, mentors, when needed, psychologists to deal with some of those old wounds. And I made me, and I still do to this day, my full time job. And so
Tell us about what that means.
when I get up, um, immediately, and this takes time and practice, and there is no fix. The moment I get up, I get right into gratitude. I don't grab my phone. I don't go, it's not, it's either you're grabbing your phone to use the bathroom or, what I'm saying, right when you get up. I've stopped that. I go straight into gratitude immediately when I open my eyes. Thank you for the breath in my lung. How can I serve today? How can I be better? And then I get up, I meditate, I pray, I write gratitude journals, not only what I'm grateful for, but grateful to myself. So many of us men have a big time. We're so hard on ourselves. We've got to start being grateful and getting present with things that we are doing right, the things that we do have. The fact that we can breathe, we're heartbeat. There's a beautiful tree and bird out the side, that we are wanting to be better. We've got to give ourselves gratitude. So I'm sure I include gratitudes. I write affirmations every day. I
Mm,
have these daily readings from great spiritual books, from the Stoics to Taoism to the Bible. If the book's been around for 2, 3 thousand years, that means there's a whole lot of wisdom and truth in
that's a clue.
it.
That's
It's
a
a
clue.
clue. And so I make sure that I do about 5 or 6 daily readings, the whole thing, and then a minimum of 30 minutes of exercise. And the whole thing, because you got to protect your physical for it too. But the whole thing each day is somewhere between 90 minutes and 2 hours. I mix it up quite a bit too to enjoy it, but I do that every single day of my life, because I want to be. And it's like going to the gym, man. You're building muscles. If you go to the gym the first time you do some curls, it's getting a little bit better, but you're not strong. And guess what? If you stop going to the gym, your muscles atrophy. Same
Yeah.
goes for your heart muscles, your mind muscles, your soul muscles, and your physical muscles. So I make sure every single day, and there's a lot of other tools I do some silence work, do some vision work. And by the way, each year I go to 2 or 3 conferences outside of my comfort zone. Like I did this 10-day vision quest where they starved me for 4 days, no people, no food, no humans, in the woods. I'm always doing things to get aware of myself, get present with myself. And it's not selfish to put yourself first. So many of us put ourselves last.
Mm.
And in order to be great leaders, to great lovers, to great men, to great husbands, to great fathers, we have to serve our hearts, souls, and minds first so that we can truly serve those that we love and care about in our businesses better. And so that's what I do every single day.
Dude, so first of all, I love this. Um, what I'm hoping that people realize is because some of the questions I'm asking you, I've also asked some of the other guys, which is, a lot of guys have a routine. They have a self care routine. You say you make you your full time job. I mean, we're the common denominator of everything that we are a part of and everywhere we go, which is what you said before. Please share with the men that are watching this, what has this done for you? It's probably indescribable. I know what it's done for me, but just try to verbalize what this does for you, dude. It's monumental to me. But I'd like to hear it from you what this does for you, because there's a reason why you prioritize this and make sure you do this every single day.
So I'm a big dude, um, 6'2", 200 plus pound guy. I'm a dude. But but before all this, I didn't have confidence, self respect, didn't love myself, was constantly beating myself up in my head, and was wearing all these face masks. When I tell you I'm not going to say I unconditionally love myself because I'm tough on myself, but I am getting super close to being, my own best friend. Self belief, self respect, self confidence. Um, walk into a room with confidence, with love, with grace. I'm not judging people anymore. I'm not angry. I'm not cynical. I don't let what politicians say affect my life because I'm going to do me. I'm going to serve me. I'm going to serve my people. I'm going to serve my family, and I'm going to do better each and every day. That's what's in
Mm,
my control.
yeah.
I feel like I'm in control of my choices, and my choices aren't in control of me. I feel like I'm proactive and not reactive. I feel like I'm more in the present moment and not always in the future. And here's the tangible stuff. And I'm not even remotely joking on this. What I thought was financial success, and I was a partner at a very large firm that most people money can't make. What I thought was financial success back then, we've by far exceeded it.
Wow.
My network, what I thought was powerful back then with bankers, investment bankers, lawyers, M&A guys, now professional athletes, some of the world's greatest coaches, guys like yourself. I mean, we lean into each other, we rely on each other. I've got people around me that unconditionally love and believe in me. They're not jealous of anything I do and vice versa. They hold me accountable. They love me and they kick me in the face when I need to be kicked in the face. Relationship with my wife's better in. Our investment portfolio is going to, what I'm telling you is when you rewire and start working out on these muscles, I'm talking your heart, mind, soul, and your physical muscles, and you work every day to be just a bit better, the compound interest, I hope that's a financial term that most people understand,
Yeah.
especially that listen to this, they probably do.
Yeah.
It's just like compound interest. $1 becomes two, two becomes four, four becomes 16. And it takes time. One thing us ambitious men don't have is patience.
Hmm.
Rome wasn't built in a day, and you're not going to become LeBron James overnight. You got to get in the gym every day, and that's what these routines these men are talking about that's the gym work,
Mm.
that's the leaning in, that's the deep work, and that's what helps us to one day. And I don't ever. Here's the other thing I've realized: I don't really desire. I would lie to you if I don't have desires.
Sure.
I don't let them control me anymore
Mm.
because that's when we're suffering. When I desire, if I've got to be this, or I've got to be that person, or I got to be skinnier or prettier or whatever. When you do that, you're creating your own suffering, and that's what my life looks like since. I hope all that helped. I could get on my soapbox, but I'm trying to quantify something that's sometimes it's an intangible.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, there are tangibles that come out of it, but it's the intangibles that, like clarity. There's no there's no way to quantify clarity. To be able to think clearly, to not be distracted, to be able to, um, when problems and circumstances arise and challenges, which is inevitable, right? I can manage that stuff. I can think through that stuff. I can call people. uh, the stress
Mm,
is my stress level. It's not that we don't get concerned about things, like you said, we're still going after stuff, but the ability to manage it seems a lot more doable. It doesn't seem like it's something I can't overcome sometimes when you get that feeling. And dude, that stuff is just priceless. I mean, and that's just a fraction of some of the tangible and intangible stuff that I'm sure you share as well from the normal daily routine. You mentioned two words. You said conquer and compete. It's all about conquer and compete, and that's how we achieved. Uh, what is your framework now of achievement instead of conquer, compete? Like, how do you?
moving the ball in collaboration. As
Mm,
long as we're moving the ball and getting better. When I'm competing, that gets in a scarcity mindset. That means you got to lose and I got to win. And that gets in a mindset to where what's yours is mine and what's mine is mine. And we've got to be careful of that. It's real easy to get. I love people that say money's not important until you try to take it away from them, right? Yeah,
mm,
try that.
yeah,
But it's interesting when you turn to are we moving forward? And by the way, my team is epic at helping me with this because I'm the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. They literally every Friday in our Slack box, they put our wins for the week, personal and professional, so we can go back and celebrate all that we've accomplished. But to me, now it's about collaboration. It's about being able to say no. You know what I'm
oof,
saying? I don't say yes to everything. Saying yes to everything is exhausting.
yes,
Even if it means that you might not get X amount of money or a deal, maybe you'll get a little more time to rest your body, rest your mind, or spend time with the people that you love.
sure,
I no longer will sacrifice my friendships either. My time and my friendships and my family are the most important thing to me. And so boundaries with time. But to me, it's not conquer and compete anymore because I think that's a loser's game. And what we've got to watch out also is the status game. If we are looking for status, and status is just a fancy word of saying, see me, hear me, love me. And this is why you see so many top athletes, entertainers, and musicians crash. When the spotlight turns off, They don't have any status anymore, and they don't feel validated or whole or complete. So we've got to let go of the status game. That's also conquering and competing. We just got to do us. And if we're continuing, so to me, my three, if I had to sum up my three words for what does my life look now, it's got to start with honor. Some people would call integrity.
Mhm.
And honor means something different to everyone, but I know what it means to me. Am I
Mhm.
the same person at home that I am outside?
Mm.
And do I act the same way pretty much 24/7? That's honor to me. And am I living my value systems? The second for me is connection and community. I think in a world that's isolated because of COVID, isolation is the enemy for all of us because we're we love connection with each other. So I always want to create connection
Yes.
and community. And the final thing is some people call it action. I call it continuous growth. And that's where the achievement comes for me. Are we growing? Because if we're not growing, we're dying. And growth doesn't necessarily mean revenue, money. Growth can come in a product. Growth can come in, hey, I gave everybody 2 weeks off. That's growing. Everybody's
Mm.
resting. Everybody's revitalizing. So it's about continuous growth, connection, and community and honor. That's what I say with my instead of conquering and competing.
Um, that's the other thing. It's a common theme I'm seeing with a lot of guys is they have these core values that they can always go back to, which is a great segue into this next question. Is you talked about saying no, which is something I have become, some, which is an idea I've valued more than anything now in my life. Instead of trying to do so many things, I think the visionaries and the leaders of the world, I mean, dude, I'll think of an idea right now, and God help us all, I'll start running with it and leave some of the some of the things that I might be working on currently to the wayside.
Mm.
But you talked about saying no. Do you have a framework of how you decide what to say yes to, and what I think some people consider as being more important, what to say no to? You have a way
So
of kind of you go
I have
about that.
two, and I love, and this is a little tactical, so bear with me here. I have two.
That's
I'm going to
fine.
talk about personal life and professional life. And the professional life is new, but we've been doing it unconsciously without us knowing it. We have a grid of three things. I believe one priority is better than three, but where do we want to move the ball in three ways? And every decision or every opportunity or every person or every network call or every, you're just getting constantly picked by all these things and shiny objects coming at you and opportunities. Is it in the grid? And if it's not in the grid, it's a no. That doesn't
Mm,
mean it can't be in the grid next quarter. And we do this every quarter. What's in the grid for what are our three top priorities? And then we reverse engineer that by person on our team to what is going to get us to these three priorities. Here's our
mm,
three priorities. And if it's not in that box, it doesn't happen.
mm.
Um, and let me tell you, I'm going to be very, in this, I hope this is not coming across arrogant. This is just truth. 3 years ago, we said no to something that cost us $1 million in revenue, but it would have cost us everything in integrity and values. And our guts were right. Our guts told us no. And we wouldn't have been able to write the book, build the practice, all these other things. We'd have been totally focused on that for a quarter of the year.
Mm.
And it was the best decision. That 1 million of saying no has generated 3 or 4 times that since. And so
Mm.
just because it wasn't in the grid, because we know in our value, our hearts, and where we want to go. If you're a leader and you're a visionary, you got to know it. You got to be precise on where you want to go. And anything that's not in that world, you got to say no to. That doesn't mean you can't come back to that. You're just
Sure.
in that. So that's how I do it professionally. If it's not in the grid, you say no. And then we reverse engineer. Here's our three main projects slash goals slash this is what we want to accomplish over the next 12 weeks. And then we reverse engineer it back to each person to get it done. Second thing in personal life, and this is this has been game changing. This was taught to me at an entrepreneur conference about 5, 6 years ago. And in your personal life, to say no, if it is not a hell yes, it's a no.
Oof.
And so your time, your friendships, your where you spend with people, lunch, dinners, walks, hikes, games, whatever your thing is, swim, I don't, whatever. If it's not a hell yes, it's a no. And that has allowed me to eliminate so many energy vampires in my life. Doesn't mean you don't love that person and want the best for them, but they're just not. I have two benchmarks for people. Do they make me happy? I don't care where they are on the spectrum of life, if they're just getting started in life or they're the top of the game. If they make me happy, they're in.
Yeah.
Seriously. You make me happy, you're in my club. That's literally all it takes. But if you're an angry, judgmental cynic, the world is wrong, a martyr, it's their fault, not my fault. I got no time for that shit. So,
Yeah.
excuse me, I got no time for that stuff. Sorry about that,
You
Dr. Brad. Sorry about that.
good. You good.
Sorry about that, man. We can bleep that out. Do they make me happy? So first parameter, is it a hell yes or no? And how I distinguish that, if your gut will tell you, by the way, immediately. But do they make me happy, or do they make me better?
Mm,
There's a lot of people in my life that I don't particularly like because they kick me pretty hard because I need to be kicked,
mm,
but they make me better. I'm gonna give a shout out to Aaron Walker for that. He
mm.
makes me better every time I talk to him. He makes me better. And so, do they make me happy and do they make me better? And so, we've got to protect our time. We've got to protect our energy. And if it's not a hell yes, it's a no, especially in your personal life. So that's the two ways I protect my time with no's.
Dude, that's so massive. Um, the my biggest takeaway from that is that better, or either they're making me better, or
Make you happy.
they make you happy. Yeah, yeah.
There's something to be
And
said about happiness and joy.
do, well, I
I got
mean,
some college buddies, man. They can't put two nickels together. But man, I can't stop laughing and just feeling like I'm better when I'm around them. That makes me happy, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And really, at the end of the day, we're all giving something to a relationship, right? Like
Always.
we either advancing somebody, us being in someone else's life is either making their life better or it's not.
Correct.
And hopefully, we're moving the needle for people just by them knowing us. You know what I mean?
And we've got to hold ourselves accountable, Dr. Brad. I'm going to call something out on that. You just hit a nerve with me because I not only do this for a living, I pay people to help me do this for a living, coaches and mentors and masterminds. I was in a mastermind for 3 years that really served me well, really well. But I felt toward the end I was becoming resentful and becoming a little bit of a cancer because I wasn't receiving as much as I was giving. And
Mm,
when it's a paid relationship like that, it's time for me to say thank you for an amazing 3 years and all the growth that I've had. But now, because I am not giving as much my heart, I'm not in it, it's not filling my cup, and it's not a hell yes anymore. I have to hold myself accountable to my integrity and resign with grace and go find the next mastermind that will be. So we also have to hold ourselves to the same standard.
and to piggyback off of that, I mean, you talk about you have to go to the next mastermind. I hope you guys caught this. That means it's a priority. Like you're seeking what is going to
Always.
fill that space. That's one of the things that you mentioned, that you did to turn things around. Was you said coach every now and then, psychologist, mastermind, mentors. That means that on any given day, in any given year, you talk to Tommy, he's in somebody's mastermind.
Always. Always. Actually going to dinner tonight with my mastermind group. So tonight,
And it
as
just
we
makes us
record
better,
this.
man, because we're not supposed to do life alone.
That's right.
And that was what you said something earlier about you know evil, or you mentioned something that bad things happen whenever we're in isolation, and that is
Oh,
so true, man. um because I was at my worst whenever I felt like I was the only one who struggled like I did, and didn't want to say anything, get out of this isolation because of fear of judgment, or
mm,
uh you know on the outside just feeling like I had to portray this facade like I had it all together. And I know this is speaking to some guys, man, because at the
been
end of the
there. No,
day, I
speaking to the
mean,
guy across the video, I've been there.
no, I mean, but think about it. Like my worth was, and even I have to work on this. My worth was tied to my performance. That probably hit people right there. I mean, my worth was tied to my performance, so I had to continue to perform in order to make sure that I felt worthy and valuable.
Mm,
And it's something I'm still working on, man, making sure that my fulfillment isn't tied to my finances, that my fulfillment isn't tied to my wins or my losses, but that I have core values that I stand by, that I'm serving at a high level, these things that some of the intangibles we talked about, because at the end of the day, it'll never be enough. I start realizing it'll just never be enough. The money won't be enough, the whatever's in,
ever.
but I also realize that the more that I serve, look, if you get me in a competition of who can serve more, everybody wins. right? It's like,
Think if
well,
our politicians could do that. How wonderful would this world be right now? If they just said, "How can I serve the people of this world?" It'd be unbelievable.
oh man.
It'd just be unbelievable. Contest of generosity would be a whole lot better
Oh,
place to be, right?
yes, yes, indeed. Um, Tommy, man, you and I can do this for hours, dude. But I want to land the plane for some of these guys. All the core values you mentioned with honor slash integrity, connection and community, continuous growth. You certainly exemplify that, man. I thank you for being on. Last question I have for you is there's a guy out there who was like we were right now watching this, who's trying to figure out like, dude, I something's got to change. I'm winning in one area, but it's coming at too great of a cost. Uh, what would you tell him?
Two things. One is you're not alone.
Mm,
Don't die on that horse. Seriously, don't die on that horse, man. Get help. Better yourself. You're not alone. There's a million more men just like you. So you're not alone in the whatever you feel, whatever struggle you have. And the second thing I would tell you is this: you must participate in your own rescue. And so go find the nearest mirror. That's the biggest problem you have, but it is always also the solution.
mm.
So double down, participate in your own rescue. Know you're not alone. Seek help, coaching, mentoring, a great book. Just start doing something small every day. What's the one thing that you can get rid of or add to your life that would make your life 10 times better? Do that thing today and just get a little bit better each day. You must participate in your own rescue, is what I would say.
Um, Thank you, dude, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Totally. Dr. Brad,
Um,
what an honor. What an honor, man.
this is cool, man. I think we're gonna help a lot of people here. Where can people find you, guys? He's worth following. So where can they find you?
we put a we put a lot of we're new to social media ish, but we put a lot of heart into it. We're always doing life hacks, money hacks, inspiration, love. We're not putting any negativity or any pain out there. We're all love, light, moving the ball forward, innovation, money, getting better. And so at Tommy Breedlove on Facebook and Instagram, LinkedIn, same thing. We're constantly putting goodness out in this world to help ourselves. We're walking this walk with you, and to help others. And we want to be on the light, love, gratitude, and success side of the spectrum, and not the division, judgment, anger side of the spectrum. And I think you'll enjoy our feed if you check us out.